Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so sorry I couldn't make it in there today. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to jump straight into some of the things that I've found with the survey. So first of all, there have been a lot of gaps in delivery identified. As an organisation that wants to facilitate a diverse, inclusive and anti-discriminatory place for people to come and feel welcome, the gaps include some non-compliance issues. We've found in both the quantitative and qualitative data. So one of the first things that's come up is the organisation's communication and educational materials. 30% of our clients noticed that there was no option for anything other than male and female. Now, with the Sex Discrimination Act of 1984, we're actually non-compliant for LGBTI inclusivity by not allowing clients to have access to choosing any other choices in the gender section. Legislation is non-compliant, and that needs to change. Only 60% of our clientele found that the reception area was welcoming, comfortable, and easy to bring your children to. So that still leaves us with 20% that were left feeling unsure, and 20% of our clients felt that reception wasn't welcoming. It was uncomfortable and not child-friendly. So we need to focus on that. Now, the client feedback tells us that our organisation literature and materials are not diverse or inclusive enough. With only 50% of our clients stating that images used in the promotional materials were relatable to themselves and their families, the remaining 50% found that they either didn't notice, or the images and materials didn't reflect their own families. So we need to step that up a little bit, and I'll get to that, how we can do that. When it came to understanding our organisational literature and materials, we actually saw significant issues. So that was surrounding the fact that 80% of our clients either could not understand information booklets or didn't find them useful. So that would mean only 10% of our clients found them useful and easy to understand. From our qualitative data, we found that there's a gap in our LGBTI plus area. Clients don't feel safe to be open about their sexuality. There's also no space to record same-sex parents on their child's information form. By not having these options, we're kind of showing non-compliance of the Sex Discrimination Act of 1984 again. So we've got some big gaps there that need to definitely be looked at. There's also been multiple incidents where clients couldn't gain entrance to specific rooms, and this is for the lack of wheelchair and pram access. This is a direct non-compliance with the Disability Discriminations Act of 1992, which aims to protect people with disabilities from discrimination. So we also have some communication gaps that need to be addressed, and we've had clients complain about the language used by staff being slang in nature and difficult words to understand. Everyone has a right to feel safe and welcome. Using slang words that are hard to understand will have the opposite effect on our clients, I feel. And this can also be the case for those clients who have said that they're not able to gain access to an interpreter when it's necessary. And legally, they need to have that access. Now, these gaps in our communication service that need to be improved is basically just to make people feel welcome, safe, and included, just like the rest of those. Now, I do have some recommendations for some improvements surrounding those. I'm going to go we'll start with the client intake forms. The first one, I'd say we really do need to update all of our forms to be compliant with anti-discrimination legislation. So to do that, we might be best to contact the LGBTI plus expert to oversee changes that may need to be made in accordance with legislation, and show our respect to that community. Also, our reception environment. Right, so we need more staff training and education on customer service, first and foremost. We need to introduce a gated children's corner that it could include toys, books, colourful posters, educational toys, just something to make the parents who bring their children there feel that their child is safe, that they can safely bring their children and not feel like they're a hindrance in any way. We're going to look at more comfortable seating and areas for wheelchairs and prams, so not just having the usual furniture. We want to have areas where people who are in wheelchairs can be, they're not in the way, but they're still included in the whole community of our reception environment. We want a vibrant, happy, culturally diverse area. So we're thinking, culturally diverse wall hangings that are inclusive and respectful, soft, gentle music, to enhance a more relaxed atmosphere, I think. And we need to make sure all entrances to every room, not just those ones that people have complained about, we need to make sure every single room that we have is wheelchair and pram accessible. All right, so that's the reception environment. All right. Next, we've got the organisational literature and materials. First of all, another thing we need to do is update all of our literature and materials to be accessible to everyone by adding more pictures, maybe less words, more simple words, add more diversity in the families and individuals pictured, just to include everyone, We also need to find out what information would be most useful in our literature by conducting surveys, feedback forms, and having conversations with our clients, getting their understanding of what it should be. All right, so how are we going to evaluate this once it's done? For the client intake forms, I believe we need to continue to review and update our client intake forms every year. This is just to maintain compliance with all legislations, that we're not non-compliant in any way. We'll continue to liaise with a representative from the LGBTI community, as well as our local Aboriginal community, to ensure we're very inclusive and respectful in all the forms that we're sending out. Okay. Reception environment. All right. So what we need to do, we need to make sure our staff complete a performance review every 3 months. This is going to help to improve their self-reflection and considerations on where they may need help, to further their training. And we'll send our reception staff to customer service personal development seminars and training 4 times per year, just to ensure training and development are maintained. I would also like to see surveys and feedback forms available at the reception desk for clients to fill out and offer comments or feedback. Also, the children's corner needs to be maintained and cleaned daily, and will also be updated every 6 months, just the books and the toys and things like that, just to keep it, happy for everyone. All right, our organisational literature and materials. All of our organisational literature and materials will be updated to comply with legislation. In regard to diversity and inclusion, by adding more pictures, less words, add more diversity in the families and individuals picture to include everyone. And that just needs to be, we need to make sure that's updated, with our different clients as well. Right, we need to find out what information would be most useful in our literature by conducting surveys, feedback forms, and again, having conversations with our clients and seeing what is going to be best for them. All literature will be monitored and reviewed every 6 months to maintain inclusivity, legislation compliance, and making sure it's useful information to our clients at the time. We all know our clientele changes. Right, the last thing I'm going to talk about is communication. So all staff will undergo training on communication in the workplace and the importance of using language that is appropriate to include a diverse clientele. So not using slang. We've got elderly, we've got youth, we've got children who come through here. We need to be able to speak in a way that's going to be clear and easily understood by all of those generations and by all of those cultures that we see. Right, so we're going to make sure that all staff are sent updated emails and reminders about accessing interpreters. We'll be retraining everyone on the policies and procedures surrounding legislation regarding the right to an interpreter. That's very important. And we'll continue to monitor and review these issues by employee reviews and client surveys and feedback. All right, thanks guys for having me.